Welcome to A Moment of Xen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Xen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Xen Sams.
Welcome back, New York City and beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Xen Sams. Here's to another exciting episode. It's such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for tuning in every Saturday and engaging with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please continue to follow me at Xen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And remember, all episodes of A Moment of Xen are now available on our YouTube channel, Sundays at 2 p.m. via digital streaming. You can also check us out directly on your home TV platform at mox.yourhometv.com. Welcome back to A Moment of Xen, alongside our experts on the microphone, where we cover film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, cannabis, fintech, and health, and everything in between from the millennial mom's perspective. Today, we have an incredible lineup of experts and conversations that fuel the body, the mind, and the heart. Welcome to episode 240, celebrating 6 years on air. In today's Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're joined by powerhouse fitness expert Kate Nolte, better known as Tulum Trainer, founder of the Quick Minutes video series and Kate's Real Food Guide. With over 15 years of experience and more than 20 million views in just the last month, she's helping women around the world build strength, mobility, and resilience. Today, we're going unfiltered. We're talking toxins, training, and truth, exploring how movement, mindset, and clean living from the foundation of Kate's Mobility Manifesto from modern women. In today's We Play It Forward segment, brought to you by the We Play It Forward Foundation, we're joined by Pat Tully, a celebrated benefit auctioneer, strategist, and storyteller whose journey spans from Hollywood sets to charity galas. We'll be talking about the art and heart of giving, how Pat transforms fundraising into unforgettable moments of connection, and why his unique blend of showmanship and purpose continues to raise the bar for philanthropy everywhere. In today's Clean Collective segment, brought to you by Society Brands, we're joined by Justin Serpilla, co-founder and president of Society Brands. Justin is a visionary business leader redefining the future of wellness through a 100% toxin-free standard. We'll be diving into clean growth and clear values, how Society Brands is empowering founders, scaling mission-driven companies, and leading a new era of clean beauty and conscious living. In our health tip of the week, brought to you by Cispera, we're talking about something your skin can't live without: sleep. Fall often brings busier schedules, but don't let rest take a back seat. You definitely want to tune in to this inspiring little segment brought to you by Cispera. In our Brain Blueprint segment, brought to you by the Melillo Centers, Father Camillo Victoria shares how discovering the Melillo method transformed his son's life and communication. In our Going Deep Express segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift, we're taking you behind the scenes of one of New York's most exclusive beauty experiences, the VIP Glam Room at the Omni Berkshire Place. This patented, peer-reviewed innovation, CO2 Lift, is redefining skin rejuvenation through carboxytherapy. And let me tell you, it was an unforgettable day filled with glowing faces, expert insight, and a whole lot of science meets self-care. Stay tuned for the Clean Collective segment, featuring co-founder and president of Society Brands, Justin Serpilla. You're listening to A Moment of Xen. I'm your host, Xen Sams. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Xen is brought to you by Cleanomic. Cleanomic zip bags are certified compostable. They break down into nutrient-rich fertilizer that nourishes the earth. They're BPA-free, so no harmful chemicals leak into your food. Available in snack, sandwich, quart, and gallon sizes. They ship straight to your door. No more store runs. Plus, get free trash bags for life with the subscription. Protect your food and health from hidden microplastic particles by heading to cleanomic.com today.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Xen Sams. Welcome back to the Clean Collective segment brought to you by Society Brands. Today, we're diving into clean growth, clear values. We're chatting how Society Brands is redefining the future of wellness. Now, here's something to think about. According to the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics, Americans apply on average over 126 unique chemicals to their skin every single day through personal care products. Meanwhile, consumer watchdogs like the Environmental Working Group note that fewer than 20% of these ingredients have actually been thoroughly tested for long-term safety. That's alarming. And at the same time, Gen Z is emerging as the most health conscious generation yet, with 76% saying they actively avoid products with quote unquote toxic ingredients when given the choice. And I'll go even as far as to say the millennial moms back that up. That's why Society Brand's mission feels so timely. They're creating a platform where clean, toxin-free brands can grow without compromise, helping founders scale their vision, all the while protecting consumer trust. Joining us now is Justin Serpilla. He's co-founder and president of Society Brands. With more than a decade in corporate development, M&A, and operations leadership, Justin is the architect behind the firm's corporate strategy, capital structuring, and integration. In short, he's the guy making sure that clean isn't just a buzzword, it's the foundation for growth. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thanks for having me, Zen.
So excited. So let's dive right in. There's a lot to unpack. Why clean growth and founder first strategies are rewriting the rules in wellness. We're going to dive into that. So I'd be remiss not to ask, why the toxin-free standard, right? Justin, in the US, there are over 40,000 chemicals approved for use in everyday consumer products, yet the American Academy of Pediatrics, this is where it gets me, has repeatedly warned that many of these substances, like phthalates and parabens, pose risk to reproductive and developmental health. Now, I know Society Brands has taken a bold approach, 100% toxin-free, no exceptions. What pushed you to make such a non-negotiable commitment?
Yeah, it's really a multi-year journey, I would say. And each of the kind of co-founders, we each have our own unique path to get here in terms of being committed to this. So I'll share kind of on my unique path, and then we kind of came together and really said this is the new direction of the company a couple years ago. But rewind the clock back, my wife was pregnant with our first kid. He's now 4.5 years old, so call it 2020 timeframe. And she was really starting to think about the things that were going to go in, on, around her body and our future newborn. And she started doing research on red dyes and fragrances and all these things that just contain mass chemicals and are really bad for us. Well, honestly, at the time, I have an accounting undergrad, so I don't have any kind of medical or health background. I thought she was crazy. My wife can worry with the best of them. I love her to death, but she knows how to worry, and I'll tell that to her face. And so, she wanted to eliminate red dyes. Cool, sounds good. And she wants to eliminate fragrances. Sounds good. Doesn't impact my life at all. But I wasn't really bought in yet. And then slowly but surely, I think collective experiences for me were happening that just started to open my eyes more and more. So we had a friend actually down in Atlanta. She was telling us how she had been trying to get pregnant for 2 years. She had seen every doctor. They had tried every remedy. And they tried everything. And she did everything the doctors asked. And so they had a failed IVF treatment. And really she was losing hope at her dream of, one day becoming a mother. And she read on a podcast that the average female puts on just the crazy amount of pounds of makeup per year and just filled with chemicals. So she went completely clean beauty. And within a month, she got pregnant.
Wow.
Years and years of fertility issues. And it took her a month. And so if you think about that fertility issue that she had was just one manifestation of what was happening in her internal systems from all these toxins and chemicals that were impacting her body. But there's probably any number of other areas in which her life and her health was impacted. She may have just not been aware of it. Of course, she was trying to get pregnant, so that was top of mind.
Yeah.
And so that was just an incredible experience. And then my own personal experience, I had high uric acid levels and started to have gout flare-ups a couple years ago. And I would not recommend gout to my worst enemy. I mean, truly, it is like the most painful thing. And so I went into my primary care physician to see if there was a solution. Within a 5-minute appointment, she wanted me to go on a prescription that I'd be on for the rest of my life.
Ugh.
And so, my wife, who's kind of more health conscious and more committed to this, kind of clean, toxin-free movement at the time than I was, said, no, let's go see a functional medicine doctor. Let's get to the root cause of this. And so I went to a functional medicine doctor. We ran a bunch of tests, found all kinds of inflammation markers in my body. And so not only did we lower my uric acid levels and haven't had a gout flare-up since with just a natural remedy in quercetin supplements, we also did food testing, and we found that I had severe sensitivity to gluten and dairy, cut those out. And so I was trying to lose weight at the time, was tracking my calories really intently, 2,000 calories a day, wasn't losing any weight. I cut those two things out of my life, and I started losing 2 pounds a week like clockwork.
Wow. That clarity of mission is so important, because once you draw that line, consumers know exactly where you stand, right? And you're drawing from your own experiences, which I love. And that's the key here, that everything that you're doing in this company is with such intent. And when you look at recent studies, there's a Harvard study found that founder values are one of the top predictors of long-term brand loyalty. And beyond great products, you're looking for leaders who embody purpose. How do you recognize those founders who are not just building a brand, but building a movement you can stand behind?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for us, the founder component of these brands that we bring onto the platform is critical. We are really looking for founders that, one, are just truly entrenched and bought into this kind of clean, toxin-free movement. And then two, they've found clear product market fit. There's a consumer need that they are solving for in a clean, toxin-free way. The great thing about this movement that we're committed to, which is this clean, toxin-free movement, it's going to be a changing of the tide for all of the products that are in, on, and around our body. And so what we're trying to do is have penetration with our brands of those kind of daily, weekly, and monthly needs. And so a founder that's kind of found that product market fit, they understand consumer needs, they've connected a product and a solution to that consumer need. That's like that entrepreneurial DNA that we need. And a lot of the other scaling things, we have, kind of cross-functional team members, but we like to connect that entrepreneurial DNA with those other, capabilities in our company.
I love that, because a founder's conviction really becomes the consumer's conviction, right?
Yep, 100%.
Now, according to PwC, 71% of small and mid-sized consumer brands cite lack of scale infrastructure as the main reason they can't compete with larger players. So for many, supply chain, data, and financing become stumbling blocks. How does society brands step in to give these founders the backbone they need to grow responsibly?
For sure. So many founder stories start with they have a passion and a purpose, and the product, the consumer need is like the reason they started that brand. And then you start to scale, and you get to, in our industry, I think it's about $10 million of annual revenue. And all of a sudden you have to turn this thing into a real company. It's not just a brand anymore. Now it's a company, and you need HR, and you need all these other back office support. And so the allocation of your time goes from your passion to some of this other stuff that comes with being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. And frankly, they'd rather just stay focused on their true passion. So we have, great cross-functional team members, back office solutions, to even kind of core functional areas like marketing, product development, where we really want to make sure that whatever they are really most passionate about, that drives the most value for their brand, that true authenticity that the consumers fell in love with, we want to get them back to index their time on that and not on these other areas of the business.
Yeah, that's a game changer, because you're giving founders the runway to dream bigger without losing their roots, right?
That's right.
So let's chat guarding consumer trust. This is a big one. The Edelman Trust Barometer revealed that 62% of consumers are more likely to stay loyal to a brand if they feel that the company is transparent about sourcing and ingredients. And in an age of greenwashing, how do you make sure that the brands under society brands maintain that credibility and don't dilute that trust as they expand?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things. One, the style of marketing and customer acquisition strategies that we have are inherently about that authentic mission. We're not about the clickbait or the different gimmicky marketing strategies to get somebody to convert. We genuinely want to find a consumer that wants our products for the right reasons. And so inherently in that marketing strategy is something that stays authentic. And then also we're going through our products right now and adding certifications. And then also we're actually in talks to stand up a testing facility where we're going to be batch testing every single one of our products for heavy metals and other things like that are kind of known to be bad for the body. So it is something we're committed to, and transparency is key.
Exactly. And trust is the ultimate currency, right? And once it's broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild.
Yes.
So very careful around that one. Now, market analysts predict that the global wellness economy is going to top $8.5 trillion by 2027, and clean products are at the center of that growth. What role do you see society brands playing in shaping this next chapter of wellness, and what does success look like to you 5 years from now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually in the process of assembling an entire health advisory board. We already have 2 participants. One's a nurse practitioner who has experience building brands, and then we have another functional medicine doctor. He actually has his own practice. And so we're actually standing up a full advisory board. And what's important about that is we really want to be synonymous with this kind of clean, toxin-free. When you see that Society Brands branding associated with the underlying consumer brand that you're interacting with, there's a standard and an authenticity that just is top notch. So we want to become synonymous with that. And then we have this product framework. We call it in, on, and around your body. We want to have clean and toxin-free solutions. So we want to have strong coverage across all of those categories in, on, and around your body. So in would be, functional foods to supplements. And then on would be, personal care, skincare, hair care. Around examples would be cleaning and other solutions for kind of in your home. So we want to have good penetration there, and so we just have end-to-end solutions for consumers' daily, weekly, and monthly needs.
That's so exciting. I mean, you're truly positioning society not just as a player, but as a leader in defining the wellness economy. I'm very proud. Let's chat guidance. Let's chat guidance for aspiring founders. Okay, so last year alone in 2024, nearly 1 in 3 new beauty and personal care launches carried that clean or natural claim. So this is an increasingly crowded space. So for founders listening who hope to stand out or maybe even one day join Society Brands, what's the smartest ways to build a brand that lasts?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny. We actually were having a planning session with our team yesterday, and I reminded them of this. We build enterprise value, and founders are usually building companies to both influence consumers' needs, but then also build enterprise value for themselves. We build enterprise value by genuinely being a part of consumers' daily, weekly, or monthly rituals, genuine product consumption. And so we see brands all the time where they will focus on bundling or improving their initial AOV when they're trying to acquire customers in the hopes that they can scale quicker. Well, the problem with that is that you don't actually have real-time feedback of whether or not the consumer is actually consuming your products. The only long-term sustainable path to growth and to influence and impact more consumers' lives is genuine consumption. You log into Netflix and they have a ton of intentionality around how do they get you to watch one more episode, one more movie. They know consumption equals retention. So I would really encourage focus on consumers consuming your product. That's where you're going to build a brand that they're going to continue to come back to.
That's invaluable advice, Justin, because it's passion that starts the journey, but strategy that sustains it, right?
That's right.
For those tuning in and listening and watching, you can follow along on Instagram at society_brands_ and learn more directly on the website at societybrands.com. That was the Clean Collective segment, reminding us all that what goes on and around our body should be as safe as what goes in it. For more on Justin, you can check him out directly on the gram and on LinkedIn. He's under Justin Serpilla, and on the gram, he's Jay Serpilla. And of course, you could follow our Society Brands page. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Xen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
The Kelly Williams Show is brought to you by Serendipity Yacht Cruises and Events. Tune in and turn on your happy. Kelly Williams is full of energy and incredible guests. Watch her anytime, free programming on Your Home TV network, And do follow her on social media for a chance to win monthly prizes. Check out The Kelly Williams Show on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In today's Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're diving deep into what it truly means to build resilient wellness in a toxic world. Every day, we're surrounded by invisible disruptors, from microplastics found in 93% of bottled water tested by Orb Media, that is, to endocrine-disrupting chemicals linked to hormonal imbalance, infertility, and even cancer, according to the Environmental Working Group. And while most of us look to supplements and detoxes for a fix, today's guest believes the real antidote begins with movement, mindset, and mobility. Joining me is Kate Nolte, also known as Tulum Trainer on social media, a seasoned fitness expert with over 15 years of experience, founder of the Quick Minutes video series, and Kate's Real Food Guide. Kate has helped thousands of women worldwide build strength and mobility. And in just the last 30 days, her viral Instagram videos have been viewed over 20 million times. She's proof that when movement becomes medicine, the ripple effect, well, it's global. We're going to be chatting unfiltered fitness, toxins, training, and truth. Welcome to the Mobility Manifesto for Modern Women. Kate, welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about everything that you just said in as much detail as people want to hear.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the basics, the wake-up call, toxins and training. Let's break this down. So we hear more and more about toxic load, from chemicals in skincare to pollution in our air. And according to the World Health Organization, over 90% of people breathe air exceeding safe pollution levels. And the CDC has linked everyday environmental toxins to metabolic disorders and even obesity. So, Kate, as someone who preaches mobility as medicine, how do you see movement helping the body naturally detox and defend itself in a world that feels stacked against wellness?
Excellent question. Movement naturally is how the body detoxes, pushing out environmental toxins, internal toxins like stress and frustration. And daily movement, especially nowadays, is necessary not only for just self-discipline and self-love, but to rid the body of inflammation, toxins, stillness and stiffness, which is where we feel overwhelmed and uncomfortable. And so to me, it is your daily medicine. It's something that you can access every day, and you don't need anything but yourself and the commitment, knowing that that's your responsibility to balance out what's happening externally with what you can handle internally. And so to me, movement in any style is going to help you evolve your body, your brain, your mind into a more peaceful state.
And I love that you bring it back to what's within our control, because movement truly is the most accessible form of detoxification.
Yep.
And now I want to lead into the microplastic reality check, because this is important. Okay. As a mom, I'm constantly mindful of this, not only for me, but my household. Recent studies from Columbia University, Kate, found that a single liter of bottled water can contain up to 240,000 nanoplastic particles. And these microplastics have been found in our blood, our lungs, and even placentas. I'm shocked when I'm reading this, but yet not surprised. And the fitness culture often markets hydration without context. So what's your take on smart hydration? Not just how much we drink, but what we're drinking out of, what we're actually putting in our bodies, and what ties into performance and recovery.
I'll be honest, I only recently stopped using this really big water bottle that I just loved, and I just had been in a routine of using it all the time because it was really large for the gym. And I went metal, and I got one for my boyfriend, and I got one for my girlfriends, and I'm promoting it to my clients. Like, let's get rid of the plastic, as simple as that sounds. One actionable move that you'll do every day. Go from plastic to metal, promote it with friends and family so that your impact changes then your immediate world. And then the next thing I did was I got rid of all of my Tupperware. Like, I don't know about you, but like in my kitchen, I would have drawers of mismatched tops and the bottoms, and I would keep them thinking, oh, I'll find the top to that. And they were old and they weren't looking so nice. And so a friend recently who's who's really up on the research that you're talking about, said, "What are you doing with the Tupperware?" And, me as a woman, I was like, it still works. I've had it for a long time. He's like, it's gross. And you are putting toxins in the body and disruptors. Get glass.
Yeah.
So I did. And it took me a few days because I was like, oh God, what a waste. No, I put all glass containers in my fridge. So when I batch cook, everything, first of all, it's clear, it looks really pretty, but also I'm doing my part. And whenever a girlfriend comes over and she sees all of my glassware, she's like, what? It's an opportunity. Explain to her what's going on, especially for hormone health. And then I made an impact with her. And that's how change happens, I find. Living by example, taking in the research, don't panic. What's an actionable step you can take? Where is your responsibility? And then that's how I feel you can manage it. So,
yeah. And that's the kind of real talk we need more of.
Real advice.
It's so easy to focus on macros and miles, but hydration quality and it really is the foundation to everything else, right?
Totally. And like, where are you putting your food? How are you drinking your water? This was a great question and an important detail, not just what to eat and, how much water you should consume a day, which is a very fitness kind of, discussion, but like, where are you putting your water? Where are you getting it from? Where are you putting your leftovers? Yeah.
So now all of this turns into hormone havoc if not addressed. So endocrine disruptors are one of the biggest hidden threats to women's health, from BPA in plastics to phthalates in cosmetics. The National Institute of Environmental Health Science reports that these chemicals can mimic estrogen, throwing off everything from mood to metabolism. Now, you work primarily with women. What do you wish more of us understood about how toxins, hormones, and fitness are interconnected?
First step I did in my early 40s, I'm 46, so end of my late 30s, early 40s, for me talking about brain health, brain fog and anxiety were suddenly these two things that were destroying my day and my peace. And I just thought, as a fitness trainer, I'll just work out more. I'll just turn up the discipline. I will fast for longer. And that led me to feeling even more out of control and uncomfortable until I finally took responsibility and I took the steps and I called my holistic gynecologist in tears. And I said, I'm not okay. I don't know what, something's wrong. She immediately took me in. And again, I live in Mexico, and like the warmth from a Mexican female doctor was just so important. And she hugged me and she said, I have a plan. We're going to get your panels checked. Every woman is different. We're going to see what's going on. Long story short, I wasn't making any estrogen. She gave me a pass. She held my hand. I was in tears. And she's like, I know what to do. You're going to be fine. She goes, you're a female athlete. You're going to have psychological symptoms going into perimenopause, not physical, which again is not for everybody. This is particularly for you. And she said, we're going to fix your diet. And it was just like the most simple plan. And I just felt so supported. And as she was telling me what to do, then I thought, I'm going to help other people. But she is so wise. And she said to me immediately, what I'm doing for you is for you. If you're a trainer, you help promote women's health. This is not for everyone. Your plan is for you because you're not making estrogen as an athlete. She goes, someone else who's making too much estrogen is not going to be doing the diet that I'm asking you to do. And so she just gave me these really smart parameters of women's health shouldn't be a mystery. Women need to advocate for themselves, get their hormone levels checked, and make a plan. And so that's what I did. So I want every woman to do that. If you're not feeling right, get your hormones checked. That is going to be the map to figure out how to get well again and honestly thrive. I'm thriving at 46. And I was kind of a mess a few years ago until I fixed my hormones.
Well, there you go. And that's such a necessary reminder, Kate, that you said it. Our bodies are constantly adapting to stress. And when we give them the right inputs, they perform miracles.
And it suddenly feels like an exciting time, an optimistic time. Again, looking at perimenopause, menopause, not this scary quote, change that women have to survive in silence.
Right.
I'm just so glad that women's health is now becoming a common conversation and we could talk about our symptoms without feeling ashamed or embarrassed. I mean, you're a mom of a daughter. Like, imagine when she's going to be an adult, she's going to have so much knowledge from you, from me, from women having real conversations.
You're right. Thank you for that. That's an important reminder that we are the mentors and we are the foundation of our generation. Now, the mobility manifesto, I want to get into that. I love the mobility manifesto. When I looked at your page, I'm like, that's what she talks about. It's the mobility
Yes.
if there's anybody, this is her. So
Yes.
there's this phrase that really stuck with me. You don't stop moving because you get old. You get old because you stop moving.
Exactly.
And according to the Harvard Health Review, loss of mobility is one of the top predictors of decline later in life. So you've made mobility a cornerstone of your brand. What does mobility training look like for real women, not athletes? And how can we integrate it into everyday life?
Mobility is, besides the lymphatic drainage system, which is my foundational practice, which is the jumping and the release of toxins and building energy back into the body and getting into a really good mood, which is what I do every morning. I then move into a mobility practice, which for me is moving through the biggest range of motion in my joints. That's kind of fitness language. Basically, it's your hips, your back, and your shoulders. And so that's one of the first things I teach in my one-on-one training, because almost every woman I know has hips that get tired and their back hurts when they're traveling, when they're sitting for a long time, when they're sitting in the studio for hours upon hours and doing interviews, when they're putting the little one on their hip and they're running to the car and they're putting the grocery bag on one arm. And so the body has a lot of imbalances, and movement becomes medicine. Mobility, range of motion through your joints becomes medicine when you can balance the load, the physical pressure, the stress that happens in every day. If you don't mind, I have a really great story about this, actually.
Yeah.
So I was just talking to a client yesterday. I coach her one-on-one with mobility and strength training. And she had just come back from a solo girls trip to Morocco. She's a mom, she's a wife, she owns businesses, New York City girl. And she took herself to this amazing retreat where she was doing ceramics in Morocco. She knew the flight was going to be super long. She knew it was going to be a lot of standing in line, trains, buses, etc. And she knew that her back was going to hurt. It wasn't a surprise. She already knew that, because immobility and stiffness creates pain and discomfort and frustration. So anyway, so when she gets to the retreat center in Morocco, which again is like in a mountain village, I told her, go right into your mobility practice. You have the tools to undo the hours of unnatural sitting that was required for her trip. And she did. She went right into pigeon. She went into down dog. She went into the flow that I've taught her for years. And she took responsibility for the discomfort. She didn't pop a pill. She didn't drink some weird shake. She didn't complain and be negative. She worked through her body and opened up her joints. That's what mobility does. It's your own medicine. Your body is your tool. You have knowledge is here. I'm here offering it. And she felt great. And then she was present and like in a good mood to be on her trip. And then, she did it throughout her whole trip. If you keep moving, you're going to feel great. And you're going to be independent in the world.
Yes. I think what you just said hit the chord. You're going to be independent forever. And that's the takeaway. The mobility matters. And if you start young, it is your biggest advocate. Now, the digital double standard. So your content has hit over 20 million views in just 1 month. Incredible. But with that reach also comes the highlight reel effect, where people compare themselves to curated perfection. So how do you balance going viral with staying authentic? And what's your message to women scrolling through their feeds, feeling like they're just not enough?
I've always used social media, even well before this whole thing happened. And I had a very small following. It was really just showing some videos for my current clients and my friends. My feed has always been about education. My feed, who I choose to follow, are doctors that are smarter than me, are scientists, are women, are authors, are therapists, pain management specialists. Like I've never had a child, but I'm fascinated by pelvic floor work, postpartum. I teach women, so I need to know about women's health. And so also a lot of dogs. So my feed are the things that I want to grow in. My feed isn't about women with gorgeous bodies. I'm aware they exist. I'm good. I don't need that to be coming into my brain. I'm utilizing social media, and I always have, as like a library and a resource for me to be better, not me to compare to the hot chick. There's always going to be a hotter chick. Great. She's got nothing to do with me. Also, it helps that I'm 46. I'm not 26. So, right, I'm of the generation that I didn't grow up with a phone. You know, I didn't even watch TV that much. So social media and the phone came into my life when I was already an adult, which I already know who I am. So me comparing myself to someone else is just a massive distraction. It's like listening to really loud music when you're trying to study. No thanks.
What you just said is why people connect with you, because it's raw, it's real, and it's human. And you're showing that strength and self-love can coexist with imperfection. And that's my takeaway. And now I'm being mindful of the time. I'm going to go into the longevity loop. So body, mind, and earth. Okay. So if we zoom out, there's a full circle connection. What we put on our skin, what we eat, how we move, even what we release into the planet. The Lancet Commission has called lifestyle and environmental toxicity the quote unquote silent pandemic of our time. So Kate, what does a truly clean life mean to you? Not just physically, but mentally and environmentally, and how can we begin to live more consciously?
I'm the kind of person that needs to circle back to my own personal values. I've discovered that I basically always return to 4 pillars of a value system that just bring me back to myself. So, for example, you mentioned in the morning that you spend time in silence with your meditation practice. I'm built this way too. I need an hour and a half in the morning for creativity. No phone, no movement. It's me and my espresso, my dog typically in the dark. And I put on some lights and I write. I love creative writing. I love my creative headspace. I'm such a physical person that I want to balance who I am with my own ideas. And so creativity for me is one of my pillars of how I live my lifestyle and to stay conscious, because I just find so much joy in it. I fill myself up with optimism and creative joy with that window of time. The next one, of course, is deliberate movement. I really like that idea. Deliberate movement. I'm moving on purpose. I have a plan. I know what I need. I need to get rid of the body's toxins, like you were just saying. I need to jump. I need to be in a flow state. I need to feel myself ground. Then I need to eat. I need to eat well. And I need to eat really simple foods that I know hormonally balance me, that give me energy, that give me the opportunity to be of service to my clients, to be on Instagram, to be honest, to be genuine. And then I need really good relationships. This is my 4th value pillar that I circle back to when life gets overwhelming. I have an amazing man in my life. I have an amazing team that's helping me build this business. I've had the same girlfriends for over 30 years. I'm close with my mom. I'm close with my brother and my sister. And I have real relationships with my clients. I mean, women talk. And when women talk and they start to move their body, you're getting the real stuff. You're getting vulnerable, real life stories. And that relationship, all of that, all my pillars, plus, of course, real relationships, keep me living consciously, keep me feeling honest. And that's how I check in with myself. So it's the creativity. It's the deliberate movement, which of course is also my job. It's very helpful. It's my clean eating. And again, hormone health has taught me what to eat now. And it's my relationships. That's it. It's really simple. Yeah.
Beautifully said. And it's not about living perfectly. It's about living presently.
Yeah, and every day.
And that mindfulness spills into every area of our well-being.
Exactly.
And with that said, Kate, we are officially at the end of our date, my dear. What an incredible and eye-opening conversation. I mean, we went from toxins and training to truth and transformation. And your mobility manifesto is more than a workout. It's a wake-up call without a doubt. So thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me today. I truly appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. And thank you for sharing with me what's going on with your life. And again, woman to woman, like we just have the best conversations because we go right into vulnerability and research and then advice and actionable steps. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation.
And for everyone listening, you can find Kate directly on Instagram at Tulum Trainer, and you can check out her Quick Minutes online series directly at stan.store/Kate Nolte. And remember, hydrate consciously, move daily, and live unfiltered. This has been A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, where every sip supports a healthier you and a cleaner planet. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In our health tip of the week, brought to you by Suspera, we're talking about something your skin can't live without: sleep. Fall often brings busier schedules, but don't let rest take a back seat. Nighttime is when your skin does its most important work: repairing, regenerating, and renewing. Sticking to a consistent sleep schedule supports your skin's natural healing process. It is the largest organ in the body. Lack of sleep can show up quickly in the form of dullness, breakouts, and fine lines. So think of sleep as one of your most powerful skin tools: cheap, effective, and really essential. That was the health tip of the week, brought to you by Suspera. To learn more, head to suspera.com and follow them on the gram at CYSPERA. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Suspera. If skin discoloration is making it hard to find your Zen, Suspera can help. Stubborn pigmentation, dark spots, and uneven skin tone concerns go beyond the surface, affecting both confidence and self-expression. In a sea of skincare choices, Suspera stands apart. Backed by science and trusted by dermatologists worldwide, Suspera is powered by the advanced cysteamine isobonic amide complex, delivering clinically proven results and effectively targeting mild to persistent discoloration while restoring the skin's natural glow. Unlike harsh treatments, Suspera is formulated for all skin types, including sensitive areas, ensuring visible improvements without irritation. Whether pigmentation is a new concern or a long-standing struggle, Suspera works in harmony with the skin to bring balance, clarity, and renewed confidence. Suspera is science-driven skincare for confidence that shines. Find your skin zen and restore your glow with Suspera today by heading to Suspera.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Today, in our We Play It Forward series, brought to you by the We Play It Forward Foundation, we're spotlighting Beyond the Bid, the art and heart of benefit auctions with Pat Tully is what we're going to be talking about, from Hollywood sets to charity galas. His unique journey could not be more fitting, and here's why. According to Giving USA's 2024 report, Americans donated over $577 billion to charity in 2023 alone, with nearly 30% of that total coming from special events and benefit auctions. And yet, most nonprofits say their biggest challenge is not donor willingness, but how to engage and inspire in the moment. And that's where Pat Tully comes in. He's not just an auctioneer. He's a strategist and a storyteller. His clients include powerhouse nonprofits like St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, the American Cancer Society, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's also the co-founder of the Kate Shea Foundation for Leukemia Research and has served as vice president of development for the Ireland Funds. And beyond the ballroom, Pat has taken his talents to Hollywood, guest starring as an auctioneer in Ryan Murphy's Feud, Capote versus the Swans, appearing on National Geographic's Brain Games, and even Pawn Stars. He created his own auction game show, Paddle Battle, and has co-hosted The Morning Blend. What makes Pat stand out is that he doesn't just grab a microphone, he becomes part of the mission, embodying both the art of giving and the heart of giving. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the heart of what you do. So many people think of auctions as just fast talk and numbers, but I've seen you in action. Your clients describe you as part of the team, almost like family. So what's the secret to making people feel connected enough to give so generously, if you will?
I would think the last thing I do is talk fast. Sometimes when they say time is money, they're like, Pat, you've got 15 minutes. You got to raise this $1 million. Let's go. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we're moving things along fast, but I'm not one of those cattle auctioneers that give me 25, give me 12 and a half. I don't do those chants or anything like that. I got into this whole thing by doing improv comedy, and that's really what every one of these situations is. A lot of times we're working with some really heartstring tugging moments and things are happening around us, but we can still have a lot of fun and bring a lot of energy to raise as much money as possible, because this is a gala. It's supposed to be fun besides a strong message. And that's what happens leading up to it. We're telling that strong message, and then we're having some fun to make some big money for the organization.
Yeah, that's powerful because research does show that donors who feel emotionally connected to a cause are actually 52% more likely to give repeatedly. So what you're describing isn't just fundraising, it's community building in real time, and that's what really counts. Now, you've worked with some of the biggest names in philanthropy: St. Jude's, Make-A-Wish, American Cancer Society, We Play It Forward Foundation. What lessons have you learned from those organizations about inspiring generosity on such a massive scale?
You have to tell that story leading up to the moment when we ask for the money. You said it yourself. People want to feel connected. They want to feel that emotion. So the whole gala, all along, people want to have a good time. They want to eat. They want to talk to their friends. In between all of that, we have to have some strong talking points and great speakers. And if you don't have great speakers, use great video to tell your message. Because sometimes there could be a speaker who's got an unbelievable story, but they're not great in front of a room. They just don't have that thing that you need to get up there and really rally the crowd. So put them to a video, put some nice music underneath it, create that emotion if it's not coming from that person directly.
Exactly. Now, your journey is very unique. Most auctioneers don't end up on TV shows like Feud, or Pawn Stars. So how has stepping into Hollywood shaped the way you bring energy, humor, and performance to benefit auctions?
It's funny because all of these opportunities, just like how my business has grown over the years, they've all been referrals, or somebody sees me in action and they're like, you know what, could you help us do that thing at our event in a couple of weeks or next year, whatever it is. I sit on a board of this. And then somebody said, we saw you at a casting agency called me and said, we saw you at this event. The Brain Games thing I auditioned for. And the other thing with Feud and a couple of these other opportunities, it was that somebody knew me or saw me, or then that casting agent put me into something I did well at. And they said, guess what? We've got another opportunity to be an auctioneer. So you've been typecast. Congratulations. And I'm fine with that. I'm not trying to be an actor, but I love those kind of roles when I can do that.
I love that. And the data backs it up. Stanford showed us that humor increases engagement and generosity by like 25% in giving environments. And you're all about that humor and that improv. And you found a way to merge entertainment with impact. So it's even better. Sweeten the pot. Now, you also created your own game show, Paddle Battle. That's such a creative leap. What inspired you to merge entertainment with the auction world? And do you see gamification as the future of fundraising?
It's a great question. And the idea for the show was, look, this is what we're doing every night. And so many people have said this could be a show. And it couldn't really have like a reality show of showing donors raising their hands, and you would have so many opportunities to where, oh man, I don't want my name. I just bid on that thing. I'm happy to support the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but I don't want my image and likeness and my $100,000 bid to be out there in the public. I mean, right now, it's such a tough environment. People would find a way to have a problem with that. So I was thinking, well, what if we took it out of the ballroom and away from the golf course and all the other ways people raise money? And if we had our own kind of, game show where it's the item goes to the highest bidder, but then you could still have a charitable element to it. So you have people coming on, they're spending their own money to buy some really unique items. You bring some sponsors on to provide those items. That's how you pay for the show, right? With the sponsors. And then people pay and bid and win items, and a percentage of all that goes to their favorite charity.
That's so innovative. Now, beyond the showmanship, you're also a strategist. You know how to package donated items, set starting bids, and even forecast what will drive donations. So, can you share a behind the scenes example of a moment when smart strategy made all the difference in the outcome of an event?
So I was working with a group in New Jersey, and won't say their name, but it was the first time they were doing a live auction, and they didn't know what to sell. So I said, let's do a little brainstorming activity. And during the brainstorming, I said, the number one thing that sells anywhere, anytime, regardless of the demographics, is a food and beverage experience, something bespoke. And I asked the guy, he was in commercial real estate, if he knew of anybody, did he have any clients that were restaurateurs? Maybe we could take a little something off next month's rent by having them donate a chef experience. He was like, no, nothing like that. And when we were running out of ideas, I said, well, maybe you know somebody who's been on one of those shows like Top Chef or Chopped. And he was like, oh, my sister won Chopped. Not was on Chopped. And forgot about that. It's because we forget about the great connections we have. We forget about the Rolodex we have. I know that ages me to say a Rolodex, but we forget about the connections that we have in life, even if they are in our own family. And I was saying, if we could have her provide a dinner for 10 people, that is going to raise a lot of money. And it did. She came to the event, didn't think it would do well. I said, if it doesn't sell for $5,000, I'll make it my birthday dinner and we'll invite 10 friends. We'll have some fun with it. It'll go for more. It went for $15,000, and she grabbed the mic and said, you can both have one. I was like, that's my job. That's my, so it went from, and it was just this moment where they were stuck. We don't know what we're going to sell. And I said, well, this will work. And then he had this superpower. She has this superpower as the chop champion, not even realizing it. And it's something that she offers from time to time, going forward. And that was an opportunity. And then the other side of the strategy is not just how to line up the auction items, what goes first and all that. But then there's, when do we do it in the show, in the program? What time is the live fundraising? What goes first? The live auction, live appeal, but always do that live appeal. And when it comes to that live appeal, make sure that we know that we have somebody who's willing to start us off at a certain level. So we're not sitting there saying, who'll give us $50,000, and nobody gives us $50,000, nobody gives us $25,000, because it can suck the energy out of the room. So a ton of what we do is reading the room and knowing the audience, but then also setting ourselves up for success leading up to it to make sure we have the right bidders at the right amounts.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's such an insider perspective, and it matches what the National Auctioneers Association reports. Events with a trained benefit auctioneer specialist like yourself often see 20 to 30% higher fundraising goals, and it shows that strategy is just as critical as charisma. Now, finally, as someone who's seen both the art and science of giving, what advice would you give to nonprofits and even individuals listening right now on how to maximize impact in their own communities?
I would say, make sure you do some kind of live fundraising if you have a captive audience. If it's a golf outing, dinner, cocktail party, whatever it is, you don't even have to have auction items. But if you've got a great message, tell that message. If you've got a great mission, show us, tell us, visualize it, make sure that we all know, and then make the messaging simple. And if you don't have auction items, just ask people for straight donations. Put the dollars to the facts, put the dollars to the mission, and we'll raise a lot.
Yeah, that's inspiring, Pat. And it ties to that broader truth that when communities come together, even that modest contribution adds up, right? I mean, a lot of US households, I think it's like over, and I'm all about statistics, but like 70 or 70% of US households give to charity annually. I mean, that's a big number, proving that no gesture is too small to create change. So anyhow, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey. It was much more than just an interview feature on your incredible career, but I learned a lot, and I'm almost positive we're going to have this video reshared, because there's a lot of charities, organizations, and management out there that don't know what you know. So thank you for the insight.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
That was the We Play It Forward segment, brought to you by the We Play It Forward Foundation, reminding us that giving is not just about dollars raised, it's about stories told, communities united, and lives changed. To learn more on how you can get involved or support, you can head directly to WePlayItForwardFoundation.org, and you can check them out on the gram at We Play It Forward Foundation. And if you were inspired by Pat, definitely check him out on his website at pattullyinc.com or on the gram at Patrick J. Tully, and that's 2 L's. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Xen is sponsored by FinTech TV.
FinTech TV, the newest streaming channel focused exclusively on the business of blockchain, digital assets, and sustainability. Broadcasting from our studio on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with daily reports from NASDAQ, global expansion, and 24/7 coverage. Become part of the launch. Head to fintech.tv/invest. Fintech.tv/invest.
Tune in to A Moment of Xen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In our Brain Blueprint segment, brought to you by the Melillo Centers, Father Camillo Victoria shares how discovering the Melillo method transformed his son's life and communication.
So I'm Camilo Victoria. I'm the father of Valentino Victoria. We found Dr. Robert Melillo and his method about almost 2 years. We tried so many things and nothing worked until we find the Melillo method. I want to say a lot. Is that I have my toes all over the place, because it's a lot, that we have experienced with our son. Like, I started with the immune system because he was always sick. Now he's strong, he doesn't get sick. With the communication, he didn't talk. Now he's able to communicate. And that, that's beautiful. That was something that, as a parent, you want to know what's wrong with your kid. And with the method, that's what we found here. And, I want to say, thank you, doctor. And we believe 100% in your work.
A Moment of Xen is brought to you by Tortora Promotions, specializing in white glove digital marketing, social media management, professional videography, and PR services. Based in New York City and partnering with hundreds of businesses nationwide, they deliver proven strategies that bring more customers through the door. If your old marketing methods aren't keeping up, Tortora Promotions can step in to help you stay ahead. Grow your brand and drive real results. Reach out today and follow them on Instagram at Tortora Promotions. Your business deserves it.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WI, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We're here at the Omni Hotel in care of Blaise French, the incredible. We're here at the VIP Glam Room for the CO2 lift treatment. We have all our skinfluencers and influencers in-house. How's it going?
Amazing. I just got my CO2 lift. My skin feels amazing right now. So CO2 lift fits perfectly in my lifestyle, and I'm feeling great right now.
So the CO2 lift treatment, you just did it. What was your first impression after the treatment came off?
Hydration.
Really simple. A little bit cooling and refreshing and hydrating. Refreshing already. And when they peeled this off, it was there is no word. It just oh.
Now, if you had to recommend this to a friend, what would your recommendation be, and why would you tell them to try this?
Okay, well, I would recommend this to everyone. Absolutely, I would recommend everyone because, girls, we need it, okay? Everybody needs it because, even men.
I'm super excited and very satisfied with CO2 lift.
Wow, that's a big endorsement coming from a skinfluencer like you.
Absolutely.
Thumbs up, you recommend?
Yeah, I absolutely
All right, give me a high five.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
A Moment of Xen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to co2lift.com.
Well, that's a wrap, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Remember to join me right here on A Moment of Zen every Saturday and head to amomentofzen.com for live listening links and episode downloads in your city. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now available on your home TV streaming platform. You can head directly to our channel at mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to us. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. We'll be back next week.